Hi, you're watching Gregsby Eats, and you know those boxes of stock which you buy from the supermarket? Well, ever since I changed my lifestyle 2 years back to get healthy by eating more meat and fat, going low carb, throwing out processed foods, and cutting out vegetable oils and all that, I got in the habit of looking at the ingredient lists of every product, and I was shocked to find out that the boxes of chicken or beef stock that you buy from the supermarket has sugars and carbs in it, and sometimes vegetable oils, plus other processed ingredients and additives in it. Now, I cook a lot of gravies and soups for my family, so I'm constantly using these stock boxes. And in my mind, health-wise, it's probably okay if it's just a little bit every day, but I tend to use more than a little bit. And then I also realized that I was spending about $4 or $5 per box for every meal. So I thought, hey, why don't I just make it myself? I can make a stock without the sugars, the added flours, and the processed additives and the vegetable oils in it. So I started doing research and I started doing my own stock, and so far I've been doing this for 2 years. And I have never bought a store-bought stock ever since. So I thought that I would do a quick video to show you how to make homemade bone stock, and it is dead simple. I'll get you back to the video in a minute, but first let me recommend a product that I use all day every day, Surfshark VPN. Look, going online without Surfshark VPN is like using your smartphone without a protective case. Most of the time you'll probably be fine, but all it takes is one accidental drop onto solid concrete to make you wish that you had protected yourself. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network, in cafes, hotels or airports, anyone on the same network can gain access to your private data. And I'm talking about your passwords, financial details and all that. It doesn't take much technical knowledge to hack someone. A smart 12-year-old could do it. And hackers can make up to $1,000 per person selling personal info on the dark web. I mean, $1,000 makes me wonder why I'm not doing that. Surfshark VPN helps to keep you safe by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet, so that hackers can't steal your sensitive data. It's super secure. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer 1 billion years to get past Surfshark's encryption. It's also dead easy to use. Fire up the app and click one button to get protected. And it works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets and more. So you can stay secure on the go. Secure your online data today. Visit surfshark.com, and if you use the promo code GregsbyEats, you'll get a Lunar New Year deal plus 3 months extra for free. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk on your part. I have the Surfshark link in the description box below, and now back to the video. Now, I just tend to make a generic bone stock. So I collect whatever bones that I have on hand. I can buy the bones from the wet market or supermarket, but I prefer to just bring along a plastic bag to the hawker center. And say if I'm eating chicken rice, I dump the bones in the plastic bag, and when I get home, I wash them clean and I freeze them. If we cook a meal of big pork ribs or something like that, again, I collect the bones, wash them and freeze them for later use. Now, some people don't like the idea of reusing bones. They find it icky and unhygienic, and that's fine. You can just buy the bones from the wet market if you like. But personally, whether you use cooked bones or fresh bones, the taste is basically the same. That's what I feel. So when I've collected enough bones of whatever animal that my family has eaten, be it duck, chicken or beef, then I'm ready to make a batch of stock. First, I roast the bones to bring out a deeper, fuller, richer flavor. Some people will add a bit of vinegar because they believe that the acid will draw out even more of the collagen to make an even thicker stock. But personally, I've tried it and I haven't found it to be so, you know. The effect is more or less the same, with or without vinegar. I roast the bones at 200 degrees Celsius, and I roast them until I start smelling the bone aroma and the bones start looking dry and roasted. Once that's done, it's time to boil the bones. Now, because I use bone broth for both Chinese and Western dishes, I tend to use ingredients that are common to both cuisines. So I omit ingredients that would tilt it one way or the other. I just add onions and carrots and that's it. I don't add thyme, parsley or bay leaves. That would tilt it more Western. And I also don't add ginger, cinnamon or star anise. That would tilt it more Chinese. So I put the roasted bones, carrots and onion and top it off with water, just enough to cover it, and I turn on the heat. Now, do you do a high heat or a low heat? So the whole purpose of making bone broth is to harvest the collagen and gelatin from the bones and connective tissue. And you need heat to harvest it in an efficient manner. If you have a high heat and a big rolling boil, you can extract the collagen and gelatin faster. Say chicken bone broth in about 10 to 12 hours and beef bone broth maybe in about 16 to 18 hours or so. If it's a low heat, you can do it, but it will take significantly longer, maybe twice as long or 3 times as long depending on the heat. So what I do is that since I don't want the broth to be spilling over all the time, and I don't want to constantly monitor the pot for 12 to 18 hours, constantly adding water and all that, I do a middle ground and I put it in a medium to low heat with the lid covered, and I boil it over 2 or 3 days. I leave it out in the morning, then it low boils for the entire day, then I switch it off when it reaches night time, and I don't open the cover at all. Then in the morning I check the stock and I top it off with water, just enough to cover the bones. Then I turn the heat back on again. So I repeat this for 2-3 days and then I strain the broth. I take out all the bones, but I make sure that I press on the bones to get all the broth out, and I double strain it. Once all the bones are out, I pour the stock out again into the same container with that double straining, and just look at this bone broth. It is the result of 3 days of boiling. I estimate this is in total maybe about 24 hours or so. And bone broth contains many minerals and collagen, glutamine, glycine and proline, which have excellent healing properties for the gut, and they reduce inflammation. Then I get all my bottles. I only use glass bottles, I don't use plastic. I try to minimize plastic in my life as much as I can. Then I pour it into individual bottles using a third strainer. Then I make sure it is cool before covering it, then I freeze the stock. Now, how do I use the stock? Well, you use it whenever a recipe requires stock. You can make basic bone broth soup, where you have this basic broth, you dilute it a bit, then you add some vinegar, maybe salt and pepper, then you can add some herbs to it. You can do it Western style or Chinese style, whatever you wish. Or let's say if you're making roast beef, you take the drippings on the pan, which has the beef fat, the seasonings and the herbs, then you add the bone broth and you add some butter and salt, then you reduce it down to a gravy. If you're making a Chinese dish like hot pot, you can dilute it again, add some ginger and spring onion into the broth, then maybe some Chinese herbs, and you have the base for hot pot. So as you can see, making bone broth is super easy, and there are many uses for this broth. So if this video was useful and you enjoyed it, give it a like, comment below if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, bye bye.